Hi, Leo. Alright, happy early birthday. Happiest now whenever you arrive in this place. Okay, so, also happy solstice. Oh, so many happy things. Good, 3 happies. I like that. So this country song kind of popped up. It's the part of the lyrics that I remembered was, I know what I was feeling, but what was I thinking? It's very Leo Aquarius, Cancer Capricorn kind of energy. So, in the game, we'll just jump right in here. In the game of hope, you receive the Rider, which is beautiful. This is card number 1. It's the very beginning. You also have this card of fresh start. Ooh, wise words is underneath that. That was Virgo. Possible plans was Cancer energy, and this good attitude has been spread out throughout, which is really good. That's helpful, right? Good attitude. So the Rider tends to represent good news and movement. When I did first see this, and that country song came up, it was kind of like, do you remember the reading, Horse with No Name? We did it at nighttime. It was a little emotional, right? Or maybe a lot emotional. So if you've conquered your fears a bit, right? Like maybe address something or took some action in the more recent past. Not exactly like rushing somewhere. That wasn't the point. It was kind of like aware that if you want to get to a place, and if you want to get to the place that feels good in your heart, then you have to, well, I guess, leave the place that's broken, right? Because you can't fix some things, right? Some teacups can go back together. You can glue them back together and they'll hold water. Sometimes they don't. And that's okay, right? It's Scorpio actually received this card on the bottom that you have here, this blue hand, this blue card. So that could be relevant. Let's see what your other cards are, Leo. Okay, we have the Mercury card of ingenuity. Beautiful. Ooh, and then we have the Moon card of intrigue. Both I words. Interesting. I. So, you're so patient, right? Okay, I want you to know that, well, I guess, how do I see this? I feel like I need to open up your other cards. Ooh, 2 jacks and a king. Interesting. If we were playing cribbage right now, oh my god, didn't we do that in your Horse with No Name? I tried to do the cribbage. This is 15-2, 15-4, 15-6, and a pair is 8. Potentially, if we could see the bottom, we could have ourselves a 9. Here's your 8, there's your 9. You need a right-eyed, you need a, that extra jack is important. This person here. Not the one-eyed jack, not the side-eyed jack. You don't want that. You want both eyes open. Right? Maybe that's a part of it. Have you been looking at something with only one eye? Now, I suppose this is a way to focus, right? You want to really tune in on something. You want to close. Okay, here's an exercise. Close one of your eyes, like you're really trying to focus. Close one of your eyes. Which eye do you close to focus? Like, which eye's open? The right side is masculine. The left side is feminine. This may help you to see whether you're seeing something, right? I know what I was feeling, but what was I thinking? I know what I was feeling, but, and then there's a question here of like, okay, what am I thinking about? But now, what's coming out here, maybe that was the past, right? Where it felt good, but you didn't think about what the results would be, right? Or maybe you felt like you should, even though you thought to yourself, well, I don't know if I don't know if I can do that. But now you're in this new place where you're feeling a lot more positive. It's kind of like leaving this sorrow behind, or leaving this one-sided perspective. It's like combining something. Let's see what this one is. Gracious glory. What a pretty card to receive. It's the same color as it's a little deeper than the green, than the good attitude and the possible plans. So it's almost like having faith that something can grow, right? But not being overly excited about it where, I don't know, what do I see here? Well, some things are meant to be kept quiet or kind of private for a while until one is ready to talk about it, or has enough time to understand what they're feeling, right? Because when the feelings, again, in the mental space are on, then you can enjoy the ride more, right? You're happy about that journey. You're happy about the ride, right? About where you're going. And I guess no matter what you're going through and what you're moving, because you're almost moving away from confusion as well, which is really beautiful. I know you've been tried a lot, right? Like, there's probably been kind of trying situations. Not that there wasn't a lot of positivity and awesome people here too, but it's kind of like there were lessons there that were a little tough, right? That happens. I guess for some of you to succeed, you got to look at your future plans a little bit differently. Like, how to be creative about them. And I want you to believe in your creative talents. You know, not to say you're the best at anything, right? Because you don't want to get into the pride mentality. It's a kind of, because to me, you actually have a lot, even though you know a lot. To me, most of the Leos that I've met and had the opportunity to be a part of in their lives are actually quite modest and a bit shy in their own way. Like, of your own power, you know, like, or you respect other people's power. But I guess what's important is, when do you show yours? Like, what do you feel is worthy of you extending your creative expression? And when do you have, what do I see? Well, I just saw someone having fun, you know? Let's see what these, so you have Wow. Okay, thank you very much. I needed 3. Appreciate that. Oh, awesome. So you have air signs in your life that just love you so much, right? They could be family. They could be friends, like friend family, like soul family. Let's see this one. Oh my God, 2 10s and another person. Wow. Just a second. Okay, let's take this all as you for a minute, okay? This is your reading. Let's go in order. Creative Leo order. Let's try. Hold on. Okay, what are you intrigued by? Who do you talk to about your future plans? Who supports that? And if your plans, I see, if your plans ever failed, who do you feel that would support you? Now, I suppose some things have, oh, I see. Sometimes the good news is, Leo, that you don't get to be connected. No. Let's change this sentence. Sometimes for you to get what you really want is to not have what you wanted. Maybe you want to think about that in your life where you're like, okay, I wanted this to happen, right? You wanted your boyfriend to act like this. You wanted your girlfriend to be like that. You wanted your boss to treat you like this. You wanted your friend to do this. But it didn't work, right? It's like, but now because of that, now you're here, right? That's part of the gracious glory, yes. So, I want you to be in this place of faith about how loving you are, okay? About your own ingenuity, right? If there's anything you have to deal with, you are a leader, right? You can handle so much, right? Your example, do you see this? Your example of what you put out into the world and how you can start from scratch and you can break yourself out of your own prisons and be this really strong person to change, like be open to change, you know? That is because what you're trying, it's almost as if this is going this way and this is coming this way. There's a invisible path here in the middle. See, you control the energy in the middle, right? Sometimes there are forces at play that make things happen around you, or I mean, you have a lot of control. Don't forget that. But there's also like lessons. Wow, this one's so strong. This is ingenuity, the gracious glory. 2 10s is also really good for work for me. I also see this comes back into a 2, which is about your own talents and your bank account and spiritually and financially. I see you as this Jack also. This one here, it's like, to me, this is someone who is so brave. You know, the Jack of Diamonds to me is someone who has no fear in trying something new. And they perhaps can sometimes be a little impulsive, but they're a really hard worker. They're really open to change. They're really open to trying something new again. If there has been any kind of funky spots, I feel like... I want to look at you. Hold on. I don't feel very pretty today, but... if there's been any funky spots, Leo, maybe emotionally, or you're trying to connect, right? Again, this moon space... I see that there's like a cure for the issue, okay? For some of you, this could come through sharing how you really feel. Of course, you have to... Well, that sounded brash. Excuse me, just a minute. Sometimes we don't know the answer to something. Why something worked out the way that it did, or why... like what it's all really gonna be. We don't know. I mean, maybe that's why people are here, because they want to know. But I feel like most people come to find these places because they're more curious about having a confirmation that they are in the right place. Now, of course, sometimes we're not. But no matter what a person tells another person what's right and wrong, an individual there's so much power in the soul, to me, that each individual person decides for themselves always what they're going to do. So what are your plans at this time? I also see for some of you, this could be King of Spades. To me, can be a counselor. It's someone who's really wise, someone who has a really powerful mind. This could also be like someone who's good at business. Could even be a family counselor for some of you. It depends whether you're looking at this as work or as private or professional, right? You jump from the Jack to the King too. So it's almost like you've been prepping yourself internally for something. And the more, again, you have been looking at looking and finding, looking into a bit of what, like being aware of what doesn't make you happy, right? You don't want to focus too much on that because you can fall in a hole. But it's more of accepting where other people are at instead of meeting them there. Do you know what I mean? It's like allowing, if something comes towards you, then you can deal with it. I guess that's the thing. If especially with people right now, if people and energy, situations, whatever comes towards you, use your basic instinct, right? That natural, powerful animal instinct that you have, and recognize as that's coming towards you, as Scorpio said, like, is this a threat? You'll be able to feel it, right? Whether you'll be like, and this is a cooled out energy where you're like, you can be like, kind of, hey to your neighbor, but you take space, right? You don't walk from your porch down to the road to be like, hey. You keep distance sometimes. Other times it would just be kind of like, you could meet in the middle if it's possible to meet in the middle, then please do. If something is away from you and you keep walking towards it and it's almost like you can't catch it, does that make sense? Because you're real fast, you're a lion. If you're trying to get towards something and for some reason it's not there, please don't waste your energy like that. Because when there actually is a real problem, you won't have the energy to do it. Does this make sense? Excuse me. Now, Okay, so you've been prepping yourself and figuring out more about who you are, right? Your own power, what you can do with like what you can do, what you can learn in understanding, well, I guess what you have achieved thus far. I see that you've overcome a lot, you know? And so, and I guess you have to, there is some sort of like path in between here. It's like different sides of the river, you know? And you always have to pay to cross the river, right? Some way or another, there has to be an exchange of something to get to one side from the other. Now, once you do, this is when you actually admire more of your own ingenuity. You know, where you're like, okay, well, I want to get over there. How do I do that? You know? And then you're actually a bit proud of yourself, but it's not where it's a big place of pride, right? Because it's more of this, like, you know, because it's hard. The virtue of pride is humility, right? We have humility on one side, pride on the other side, and then being modest in the middle. You know, that one out of all the vices and virtue, to me, is one of the tightest, because when you're a conscientious person, it can be hard to be like, well, I am good at that, and understand that that's one of your abilities. It's such a tight place, you know. But I also believe in your innocence. I've been realizing this more about Leos. Again, I still have a few Leo friends in my life. I had so many for so long. I'm very grateful. Thank you for the lessons. But really, there's such a patience to Leo, you know. And it's like you realize that being quiet is actually how you learn the most, right? Not saying everything that you know, not trying to prove everything, or what have you. It's like, oh, I just keep seeing like a cake. It's like a cake. Now, if you have been thinking about something, again, it kind of goes back, and I guess we're looping back around. You don't need to overthink something, okay? I guess in some senses, well, I see God hears you, right? Like when you pray, when you talk to your friends, when you express how you really feel, when you are honest with other people about where you're at, and are patient with others as much as you can be, it's like, again, you don't have to chase anything, but you do have to take steps towards your own future to make it happen, right? You have to get on the horsey. And actually, you know what I just saw? It's kind of like, it's allowing certain things. Okay, what I keep seeing is like a person that was on a horse, and then they get off the horse, and then they kind of like tap its ass. They'll be like, tap its rear, and it's like, yeah, go. And then the horse runs free, right? It's like, go ahead. Like, you're not, no, someone isn't trying to control it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, go ahead, go be free. But the only reason you would do that, say in the middle of a desert, is because you know that you know where you are, and you know you no longer need, in some kind of way, need this thing to, this external thing, right, to get you to the next place. And I guess sometimes that's what life is. People, places, things. It's like life is impermanence, right? Now, there's lots of things that can stay for a really long time, too. The feelings attached to that, the experiences attached to that, the lessons attached to that. And I guess what's cool is if a person changes, what am I seeing? If there's acceptance in the change, then the ride isn't boring. Do you know what I mean? Since there are some cards here of action also. Oh, I see how to close this out. I do feel like for some of you, some advice could be helpful. I see Scorpio. Oh, hi, baby. I see Scorpio's reading could also be of service. Maybe some of you, it could be very helpful to be counseled. This could be financial counseling, could be spiritual counseling. If you've maybe ever, I don't know, like, you want to think about the future. You know, happily so. Yes, future assured, good advice. Yes. And maybe for some of you, there is a discussion that needs to be had. Now, of course, this can be with yourself, but there's a discussion that I see would be helpful to be had in relation to how you would like to gain. Or, you know, it's kind of like doing your checks and balances, and you're like, okay, not exactly like a person asking themselves, like, what am I getting out of this? But I guess when I'm seeing someone chasing something and the other thing sort of running away, that's where one is giving a lot, trying to give a lot, and the other thing doesn't, it's being rejected, right? That isn't what you want. If there's anything in your life that feels like that, please back up a little bit, because you don't want to miss. Okay, we had a reading a long time ago called New Contracts, right? And I see that it's, depending on what you're going through, I do see, again, some of you, it would be helpful to have some kind of counsel. I feel like this for you is a time of making plans. Also, it's also a time of doing. It's not just feeling, right? And maybe some brainstorming, maybe some old-fashioned kind of like, you get yourself some blank paper and you just start doodling or write, like what are some, I don't know, have fun with it a little bit, right? I would also say, and I know this isn't maybe your favorite thing to do because it can be hard, and I get it, and you're not meant to fall down the rabbit hole or anything, but I would say that since this is your neighbor time, the sun and the moon, right? This is your neighbor time. You could have a few feelings that come in sideways, but you also have a great opportunity, if you allow some space, if you acknowledge some things inside that have been maybe hidden, or things that have already passed, right? Things that are already over, things that you already know, you can feel it, whatever. It's changed. You actually can, if you can acknowledge it enough and be quiet in that space emotionally, then it's almost as if you can watch the old feeling that doesn't feel good just go by you. You know what I mean? Or just go around you. You're like, oh, I'm just going to let that go. And then all of a sudden I saw someone, I saw someone feeling so much lighter, so much more positive, so much more blessed in especially in that mental state. It's like you become more useful to yourself. Your ideas become better. The positivity around, again, the agreements that you're making with yourself and the affection between you and others is really beautiful, right? Or it's starting to grow in new places. It's good, Leo. I would also say who in your life has good ingenuity where, like, say it is something where you're like, I want to build this, or like, how do I, and then you go to talk to somebody that you know knows how to do that, and you're like, what would I do if I wanted to do this? And they're like, oh, well, you do this, or you could do that, these are your options. They don't do it for you, right? It's just like the information. So if you want to take up if someone wants to take up the initiative, they can. And that's also available to you. I would also say I want all of you to feel good about your work. I want you to feel good about your creative talents. If you're dating right now, also, I see there's a lot of love there. The passion from that would come from you, mostly. If there is a lack of passion in any kind of way, remember that resentment eats away passion. Okay? Especially resentment will specifically eats away at intimacy. Yeah, and stress, so maybe you blowing off a little bit of steam could also be another thing. And I know sometimes it's so quiet to be, like, to sort of slow down with yourself. But if you take a little bit of time, because I feel like what's around you really pushes you sometimes to what you do, right? So this would also be something where you just allow yourself to be for a second, and then this will help you to, like, point the weather vane where you're supposed to go now, right? And kind of trust the path. Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like whatever you were worried about, it was something, you're good. You're all good, because you can solve anything, Leo. You rule creativity. That means you can do anything. Okay? Oh, by the way, before we go, yes, you've overcome so much in your life. You can do it. By the way, this deck I'm using is, if any of you want to draw a chart on it, it might be interesting, but this is April 13th, 2017 at 4 p.m. I don't know where Blue Springs, what's MO? Montana? Blue Springs, Montana? That may be, something. Huh. Montana. Pit 6, table number 9. 69. I love you, Leo. Please take care. Yes, and please know that you're loved. Okay? Love your talents. Put some good energy around your bank account, around your money. Put some good energy around the places that you have, the faith you have built in yourself through the relationships that you have had. Good and bad. You know what I mean? And what is your future plans? Maybe a bit. This is more down the line, I guess. I feel like there's more future energy around home, or around, like, it's some sort of, like, cohabitating, or, like, creating something in this private place. Okay. Love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.